Hi, welcome to my channel, knottygnome Crafts. My name is Sarah, and you can find me as knottygnome on Instagram. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're coming back, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Today's video is going to be all about my January makes. Now, if you are a longtime viewer of my channel, you may have watched my video about my 2022 intentions, and one of my primary intentions was to slow down and take my time with my makes. And so imagine my surprise when I was figuring out everything that I had finished in the month of January to discover that I actually made, I think, 11 things, which seems like a crazy number, especially considering that a large portion of January was taken up with working on my pants fitting muslin, which is not ever going to be a wearable garment. So I have no idea how I managed to make so many things in January, but I've decided not to punish myself for it. This is my hobby, it's what brings me joy, and the only thing that I can think to do is to put a quota on what I'm allowed to make a month, and that seems silly and ridiculous. So it is what it is. I'm happy to share all 11 of these things with you. So yeah, let's just get started. So the first thing that I finished in the month of January was a new pair of mittens. So I've been a knitter for a very long time. I have many accessories, but one thing that I could say that I really was lacking was a pair of dark, solid mittens, because all of the mittens that I currently have are either fun, stripy colors, or they're just kind of light colored neutrals, and I really wanted something black that would go with, I have a gray puffy coat and I have a camel wool coat, and I just thought black would be really nice for going to work and stuff. So I used my favorite mitten template, which is the Knitter's Handy Book of Patterns by Ann Budd. It does not actually have a pattern for convertible mittens, but I just used it as a guide because I've made these mittens like this several times in the past. So yeah, I just used the original pattern as a guide to make my own convertible mittens. This yarn is Madeline Tosh DK in the colorway Onyx. And these flip top type mittens are my absolute favorite because it's just easier to access things with your hands if you need to, use your phone or anything like that. So yeah, that was the first thing that I finished. I think it only took a few days to make these, and I've been wearing them pretty much nonstop since I finished them. So the second thing that I finished in January was my leopard print skirt, which is Simplicity 2184. Now I did find that this pattern gave me some fits and I had some issues with the hemming. I will link that video up in the cards in case you are interested. But in the end, I did decide to keep this skirt in my wardrobe, wonky hem and all, and I've worn it and I do really like it. Or I don't want to say I really like it, I kind of like it. I've styled it for you here in sort of more of a spring look, I think with just a simple t-shirt. And I do really like the various ways that I've been able to create outfits with the skirt for winter and for warmer weather. So that's why I do think it is the keeper in my wardrobe, at least for now. So the next three things that I made were all t-shirts using the pattern from Pattern Emporium Keep It Simple Babe t-shirt. I made 2 crew neck t-shirts and 1 turtleneck. The turtleneck was using a leopard print cotton spandex jersey that I got from Knit Pop, and I've worn this a few times. I do really love the print. I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that the neckline is maybe a little bit high and it's not the most comfortable that it could be, but it's really quite nice. And I've styled it with a simple ready-to-wear denim skirt. And I really like that outfit. I do think that I'm going to get a lot of wear out of that particular t-shirt. And then the next one that I made is the one that I am wearing. This is the chocolate brown cotton modal spandex jersey that I got from StyleMaker. And this I have styled very simply with a hand knit shawl. This is the swallowtail shawl. I made this probably 15 years ago. It was a free pattern from Interweave Knits. I'm not sure if it's free anymore. I'll try to put the details in the description box. And I'm also wearing it with my gold corduroy Miller trousers. So yeah, I really like this brown t-shirt as well. I don't have a lot of brown in my wardrobe, but I am enjoying adding some of those warmer tones. So yeah, I do really like this t-shirt, and I think it is also going to get a lot of wear. And then the last one, I unfortunately don't have new modeled footage for you because it's in the wash, but it's the exact same as this one. It's just in a cream color. It's the same cotton modal spandex jersey from Stylemaker. And I do have a photo of it styled with my Rifle Paper Company floral skirt that I will go ahead and put up here so you can see what it looks like. So all three of those t-shirts were the Australian size 8, and I made the short version and with long sleeves, and I did shorten the sleeves 3 inches. So the next item that I finished was my very first sports bra. This is the Liz bralette from So You're Happy, and I had downloaded this pattern for free, but I believe it is no longer free, but you can get it on Etsy. I made it out of scraps. So the exterior is this activewear knit that I had on hand from Joann fabrics, and then the interior is another activewear fabric that was, I think, was a dead stock that I got from Stylemaker fabrics. And I did add some elastic to the bottom band just to give it more support, so it looks a little bit funky like when it's not on, but when it's on the body it looks fine. I think I had mentioned that I finished this with the burrito method. I forgot to mention in my review, I do have a full review of this bralette, so I will put that up in the cards. But I forgot to mention in my review that there are actually different finishing methods for this bra. You can do it the way that I did it, which is the burrito method with the clear elastic, so all of the edges are encased, or I think you can use fold over elastic, and I think there's another version, and I can't remember what it is. But I just used the supplies that I had on hand, and I do like the look of it with the edges all enclosed because I think it looks a little bit more like a sports bra. And as I had mentioned before, the edges, the lining does want to peek out on this, but someone had mentioned to me that I could cut the lining just a little bit smaller than the exterior next time to make it roll to the inside, and I do think that's a really good idea that I will probably try when I make this again. So the next item that I finished was my January project, Dress a Girl project. So I had mentioned that I'm going to try to do a charity dress every single month until September, which is when Marty will be collecting them. And this is for Project Dress a Girl Around the World. And this is a jersey dress. So I mentioned in my last video that I'm not going to tell you what the pattern is, and like if this was a professional company, I would have no problem calling them out saying that they made a bad pattern. But the reason I'm not saying who it is just because it's just an individual with a blog, and I don't think it's right to be like, this pattern that you put out for free sucks, and so that's why I don't want to mention the name of the blog. But anyway, I did manage to make a dress out of it, even though the pattern was not the best, and I added these patch pockets to the front out of a quilting cotton, and I think it's a really cute combo. And yeah, that was my first charity dress of 2022. So the next thing that I finished was my husband's lined mittens, and he is currently wearing them because we had another snowstorm and he's out snow blowing and, you know, doing some work outside. So I don't have them to show you, but I did remember to take pictures and a little bit of footage so you could see what they look like. The exterior mitten is knit out of Desert Vista Dyeworks Viso, which is a superwash merino nylon base, and it's a self-striping yarn, and the interior is a merino cashmere nylon base that was naturally dyed by me many, many years ago. And the mittens are super warm and cozy because they're lined. My husband did say that they're just slightly too big, and so I need to make a note that the next time that I have to make him lined mittens, which fingers crossed is going to be many years from now, that I'll have to make him like the next size down or make them a little bit smaller because they were a little bit big and bulky. But he does say that they're super warm and that they do the job, and he's very happy. So the next thing that I finished in January was a chalk and notch page sweatshirt. So I had purchased some bamboo cotton sweatshirt fleece from Blackbird Fabrics and the matching ribbing, and I'd always intended to make the hoodie version of this. But once I got the fabric, I had 1.5 meters of the sweatshirting and 0.5 meter of the ribbing. I decided that I had enough fabric that I could try to squeeze out 2 garments if I played my cards right. So I ended up replacing the hoodie portion with just the neckband, which is a free add-on that Chalk and Notch provides. So I made the size extra small in the sweatshirt, and I really like it. The only thing that I don't like about it is that I do feel like it's a little bit too short. In this video, I have styled it just very casually with a t-shirt and leggings. And yeah, as I put that outfit together, I was like, oh, I just wish it was like 2 inches longer, or like 1.5 inches longer. So the next time that I make this, because I do think that I'll go back to the pattern again at some point, I will definitely lengthen the body, but otherwise I really love it. The fabric is so delightfully soft and cozy. It's not very thick, but it is surprisingly warm, and I really do love that sweatshirt. I'm always a little bit leery about yellow because I think that some yellows can look okay on me, but other ones look really bad. I do think that this buttery yellow looks pretty nice, and I'm very happy with how that came out. And then with the remainder of the fabric, I cut out a Sew House 7 Elemental Pencil Skirt. This skirt is a free pattern that you can download from their website. It has a really good size range. So I did end up rotating my fabric. So the fabric actually had more stretch on the cross grain. So I ended up cutting out my pieces so that the greatest stretch went across my body. So it's technically like tilted on its side, but because this is a solid color, like you can't even tell. And I did shorten the skirt by 4.5 inches so it hits me just below the knee. Now this construction was not my favorite because it has an elasticized waistband, but it has a facing, and the facing is not attached in any way. So it does, you have to be really careful that you like tuck it down in when you put the skirt on so the facing doesn't flip out. That does annoy me a little bit. I did originally try to hand tack the facing down, but you could see it on the outside because the fabric is so thin. So I ended up taking out the tack stitches. For that reason, although I do really like the skirt, I like the shape of it. I think that if I wanted to make another knit pencil skirt, I probably would just go back to my favorite Simplicity 8982. I think I like that construction a little bit better, but I do really like the way that this one turned out. I think that it's a really pretty skirt, and even though it's made out of a very sporty fabric, and I did go ahead and model the two together as a set, and I think that's super cute. I think that I actually can also style it a little bit more dressy and more like office appropriate, and I tried to do that in this clip so you could get an idea of how I would wear it to work. And then my final finished object of January was one that I'm very, very happy to be finished with. It's my Orchid cardigan by Julia Wilkins. And I can't remember when I started knitting this, but it might have been like September. It was quite a while ago. And I used Volmisa lace that has been in my stash for a number of years. And it's a brioche cardigan. Now, you may have noticed in the clips that this cardigan is not a cardigan, it's a vest. So what happened with this was I made the body of the cardigan and then I did the button band, and I may have done something wrong. I'm always willing to admit that I might have screwed up, but the directions, my interpretation is that the way the directions have you do the button band, it doesn't give you functional buttonholes. Like I did the whole button band and I realized at the end that the buttonholes were so tiny that there's no way you were going to actually be able to put a button through it. And it really annoyed me. And also I just didn't really like the way that the button band was made. I just didn't like it. So I ripped out the button band. But the problem with that is that it had been so long since I had done this that I forgot that the stitches on the neck were still live. They were not bound off yet. So when I ripped out the button band, all of a sudden on the last round, all of these live stitches like came apart on the neck and they all started to like ladder down. And if you've ever tried, to pick up loose stitches, it's not that bad, but it's kind of a pain. But if you ever tried to do that in brioche stitch, it's a freaking nightmare. So I managed to like kind of emergency, like pick up all of the drop stitches. And I was just so sick of it at that point that I like threw it in my knitting bag and set it aside for at least a month, maybe a couple months. And I just didn't want to think about it. So after I finished my husband's mittens, I wanted to start a new sweater, but I was like, I really need to finish the sweater that I already started. So I sucked it up, I got it back out, I got all the stitches back up to where they should be for the most part. I did finish off the neckline, and then I just did a garter stitch button band, it just made a lot more logical sense to me, and it has functional buttonholes. So once I finished the button band, something occurred to me, which is that I already own a red cardigan that I love and wear all the time. And I just don't really need another one. So I'm like, I know why I made this into a cardigan, or why I used this yarn, was because it's been in my stash for a long time and I'm just trying to get it out of my stash. And a sweater takes up a lot of yarn. So I was just trying to utilize the yarn that I had. but I just don't need 2 red sweaters. So I had an epiphany that I could just quit knitting it because it is made in brioche stitch, the edges actually look nicely finished without having to like add ribbing or I-cord or anything. Like it just looks nice the way that it is. So I'm like, you know what? I tried it on and I was like, you know, I actually think that this makes a cute vest and it looks finished and it looks like totally on trend. So I'm just gonna leave it the way it is and not knit the sleeves. So that's what I did. I wove in the ends, I sewed on the buttons. Like I said, I didn't do anything to the armholes because they looked nice the way that they were. And I have myself a brioche vest. And I did wear it a few days ago. And it's really, really warm, even though it's a lace weight yarn, because it's brioche. Brioche is essentially a double knit fabric, so it's like double thickness. And it was super warm and cozy. I really like the way that it looks. And so I am super thrilled to have a hand knit sweater vest in my wardrobe. And I kind of solved my problem of not having too many duplicates. And yeah, super, super thrilled that that is done and off the needles. And now I can start a new sweater. So those are all 11 things that I finished in the month of January. Let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I really do appreciate that you take time out of your day to watch my channel. If you like this, I hope you'll hit the like button and please consider subscribing. I'll see you again next time.